point that you raised earlier. Can Curious copy? Can he copy the style he's seen from Shine? Can he just try to get into Soulkey's head? Because even though I feel like part of the reason why Shine has Soulkey's numbers is because Soulkey gets stressed out when he plays against him.
Yeah.
But if he goes in there and scouts, or he sees those Zerglings coming across the map, he might stress out and panic again.
I mean, he's shown, Soulkey has a bunch of games where he gets nervous, he makes a bunch of micro mistakes, ZVZ, in Pro League itself, recently as well. And I feel like this is Curious's best chance. I don't see a good future for Curious in this game if he tries to go for a very standard game here.
Yeah, if he tries to out-roach his opponent, if he tries to even go for Mutalisk tech, I'd like to see Mutalisk tech, at least if he's not going to do an early pull or be aggressive. Just trying to play a straight-up Roach versus Roach ZVZ against Soulkey, who's just shown so much great decision-making in this matchup. When it comes, if he survives until Lair is done, like, you cannot beat him, it seems like. He just knows exactly how to manage his drones, his economy, his decision-making with attacking. Habitation Station is the map, so I don't think we'll see any sort of innovative gold-based type strategy out of Curious, but that's something to consider as well. We could see him try to take the gold base. We could see him try to use a specific timing using that. Maybe try to use Mutalisk as a result. Looks like the players are in the lobby and ready. So are we. So let's go into what could be our final map. Incredible Miracle versus SK Telecom T1.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Up here in the top right, the red Zerg coming out of Incredible Miracle, an allied player from Startail. This is Curious.
And to the top left in blue, it's the SK Telecom T1 Zerg Soulkey. A gold Zerg just recently getting his 100 Win Club award for Pro League.
Yeah. And the question I want to see is our gold Zerg going to get a chance to take this gold base?
No, it may be. The thing about this, the gold base on this map in Zerg versus Zerg is fast expanding to it, you know, from the start is out of the question. You're just not, if your opponent scouts us, he will punish you and kill you. Zerg versus Zerg is just that way. It's too far away. Man, before you can actually get the money back for it, to pay for it with those gold minerals, you're already going to be too far behind. Or your opponent's just going to kill you before that. The third base, on the other hand, is something where we could see somebody try to take it. That would be a little bit more reasonable of a risk. But even still, taking the third base that's further away is more common in Zerg versus Zerg, and I think we're probably not going to see the gold base taken by either player until fourths. You know, because it's very risky.
Yeah, it's a very big risk, and Soulkey deciding that he wants to play a little bit safer here. He wants to throw down that pool first. Whereas on the other hand of things, Curious is going to grab that hatch first.
Yeah, drops it there at the natural, and this is exactly what I expected to see from Soulkey, because better safe than sorry. He has had some problems in the past defending against early pools, and you know, fighting. There's a high chance that Curious will do an aggressive build against him because of how good his macro is. And Soulkey just playing it safe here. Going to get a fast gas as well, so he can control the early game with his Zerglings. If he controls the early game, he doesn't have to worry as much.
Yeah, I really like this out of Soulkey. I mean, he's got to be studying his own games as well. And if he knows that he gets nervous in these games where sometimes he gets cheeses, then maybe the better thing to do here is just play a little bit safer, grab that pool first, and just make sure you're a little bit better against any cheese that could come across the map. On the other hand of things, I'm very surprised that Curious didn't go for something aggressive here. So far, just a hatch, so we do still have some time.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy.
Nothing
no banelings.
crazy. No banelings. Not yet.
No green.
No green. Only green we see is the gas. I want to blow some people who are watching's mind. If you look at the top right where the gas is, the icon changes depending on what race you are. So the Zerg gas looks like it's kind of in a sack. The Terran gas is in a, looks like a, you know, barrel, like a Heisenberg methylamine barrel. And the Protoss gas is in like a green cube that the probe creates. So it actually changes based on what race you are.
Yeah.
Minerals always stay the same.
Speaking of gas, Curious very closely watching the gas of Soulkey, wants to know exactly how much gas he's getting out of there. Can be a very big tell as to what tech Soulkey is going to go for, or lack of tech.
Exactly. And now he knows, okay, it's just Zergling speed for now. So he gets a Spineclaw up at home because it could just be a commitment to a Speedling all-in off of 2 bases. These Zerglings want to see how many drones are here, how many Zerglings are around, you know, and anything that pops out of the eggs. He just wants to know how greedy can I play this as a response, because I took the greeter hatchery timing. I have a much later gas, so I'm not going to have a defensive baneling nest up just yet. And wow, he takes the 3rd base as the gold. So Soulkey, what I think he's going to do here is put a little bit of Zergling pressure on his opponent, especially after what he's seen. You know, he's seen Curious try so carefully to scout for him. Then he's going to get ahead with that gold base, so it's pretty smart. Looks like he came from Jeju to see Soulkey.
More people from Jeju coming over here.
As we described this yesterday, Jeju, an island. It's part of Korea, but a little bit far away.
I guess I should call it Jeju because the do is just island in Korean.
Yeah, well,
Jeju Island.
You can call it whatever you want.
I can, that's true.
I mean,
I can do that. I have that power.
You have that power. As long as people know what you're talking about, it's all fine. If you called it Ooga Booga Island, I might have a problem with that, but that Overlord is actually still in position to see the gas and how much is being mined and when it was taken.
Yeah, both players actually having it there. Very nice thing you can do, especially on this map. Have a little bit of dead space over there. You can just spy on your opponent's gas. Gas isn't going anywhere.
Lair here pretty quick for Soulkey, and this 3rd base is scouted. How is Curious going to respond?
Well, he's had it up for a while. I believe Curious has had the information for a while as well. So far, you know, he has his 2 Evo chambers. So far, he's just getting the 1 to attack.
Yeah, he's getting 18 Zerglings. I think he's just going to try to use his Zerglings to harass. He may follow up with a Speedling Roach attack with 1-1. But like you said, he's only getting the +1 attack upgrade right now. Look at what Soulkey is doing. He's eliminating these creep tumors. He's just trying to slow down the attack that Curious might be able to put on. Really smartly done. He's already getting his units set up at that 3rd base because he knows it's going to take a long time to walk over there, and that's going to be the exact point of contention where he will be attacked by Curious.
It's funny how, even though Soulkey did go for that 3rd base, and you know, just now Curious is going for the not gold base, Soulkey is still up considerably in army supply, and not too much down in workers, only by 2.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This looks like enough roaches to easily ward this pushback. He's even using the creep spread with the Overlords with that lair tech that he has to help defend his bases. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so if you got those Overlords out there, there's nothing that's going to kill the Overlord, so it's not a bad choice. Nice block here, and Curious, to be quite frank, is not really getting anything done here. His 3rd base is very late. He's up against a Zerg player who has a 3rd base that's a gold base. I'm starting to like Soulkey's position more and more. The supply tells the tale.
Yeah. Curious even supply blocked here for a bit. His 2 Overlords are pretty late here as well. So many minerals are coming through out of this gold base for Soulkey right now. He pulled a bunch of these drones and he moved into the gold bases, of course, to try to get as much efficiency out of that mining. And Curious, you know, he doesn't even have a 3rd base, and Soulkey has even more units. He's actually just moving across the map. I'm not sure if Curious is going to be able to hold this.
He's basically just hitting a timing off of the extra minerals that he had. He's down on workers because he's using his larva to make this larger army. He's up about 20 army supply right now. He's trying to break his way through. +1 is not actually done right now for Curious. It's very close, but close is not good enough.
Close is definitely not good enough. The nice concave, though, here for Curious is decent enough so far, but that +1 is doing so much damage as well. Soulkey having the better broach number here, but a lot of these reinforcements coming out of these eggs for Curious. Looks pretty even so far, but Curious is going to be able to hold it for now.
Yep, he holds it. He chases these back. You know, his broach speed is done, which means that Curious kind of has to turn around and fight here a little bit, or rather, Soulkey has to turn around and fight here. And, I mean, part of that fight really came down to that 1 Spineclaw and all the Queen transfuses. The Queens really helped out. But this isn't over yet. Here come the rest of the reinforcements for Soulkey. The Carapace upgrade for Curious is getting pretty close to being done. Then he'll have a whole upgrade lead over his opponent with that 1-1.
It's just amazing to me that Soulkey having this base for so long, you know, and he's still able to put on this much pressure onto his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because you get so many extra minerals, the base explodes, but it's like it's a very short-lived experience because it doesn't have a lot of minerals. They mine out very quickly. So once you're out, and you need another base very soon. So, he's able to mine more resources with less workers, which means he has more larvae to spend on attacking units with more minerals because, it's a gold base. But the transfuses were what saved Curious. Also, the concave that you mentioned was really important. And now, for the first time, Curious is starting to mine from his third base. He was not mining from that base the entire time. It was up, but it didn't have any workers on it.
Yeah, he's finally getting that third base up and running. And Soulkey, I think he's down. I don't think I saw him getting the Carapace upgrade. No, he's just at 1-0, whereas Curious is at 1-1 right now, and he was getting that second attack upgrade as well.
Soulkey is in a bad place, man. He doesn't have any additional upgrades. He made a ton of units just now instead of drones, and it's not going to work out. He's not going to be able to actually kill anything here. Curious's defensive position is almost good enough for him to take a fourth base right now. He's just playing it safer. He's getting that +2 that you just mentioned. It's about to finish. And Soulkey still hasn't taken a fourth base. His gold base is getting, a little bit lower here. I mean, it's not like it's going to mine out anytime soon, but it's on its way to, and he needs to transition to something. At least he's getting that +2 attack, but it's a little bit late, as mentioned before.
Yeah, it is a little bit late here. I like how Curious, though, he's playing very defensive. He's just sitting back, like you mentioned. He's just playing very safe. He could take that fourth base if he wanted to, but Soulkey does have his Zerglings very well out on the map, just checking all of these possible bases here. Still no gold base out of Curious. He's going to have that later in the game. He's going to be able to get that kind of huge mineral boost all at once a little bit later.
Yeah. Burrow being researched right now for Curious first, and Burrow movement as well. So he's going to be able to harass. The fourth base for Soulkey is becoming more and more important because he's going to need that pretty soon. And when he does start to add it, it's a little bit vulnerable there. It is dropped now. Burrow movement roaches could actually ruin his day if they're able to sneak over there somehow. It's a lot of surface area over there. There's a completely different second path you can take. I would never find myself caught looking at any of those beautiful women, but
no, never, Wolf. You would never do that.
I would never. Pro League girls here.
They say, come watch more Pro League.
Yep. And you should. You can watch them also if you like. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And anybody who ever did look at them certainly should not feel that way. Overlord speed is being researched right now for Soulkey, so he's going to be able to hunt down those Burrow movement roaches a little bit easier with his Overseers.
I'm just worried about his upgrade, man. He's only getting the +1 to Carapace right now. Curious is going to have +2/+2 with Burrow and movement.
Yes.
As well as getting that Infestor Pit up.
I just like how Curious plays this. I mean, he's not even trying to take the gold fourth. He's like, I'll do that later. I'm just going to take a more solid fourth that's going to last me longer through this game. It's not going to be a temporary thing. Oh, no! On the move command, though! This gives Soulkey a nice little engagement he can take, and there is an Overseer nearby, so he's not going to be able to, shark his way out of there.
Yeah, and at the same time, the Zerglings did go down that fourth base. Isn't going to die for Curious. Curious, a little mistake here. Could have actually done a bit of damage. The Burrow and the Burrow movement had just finished when he was trying to go for that attack.
Yeah. He's now even able to start Infestors. He's going to get those out pretty soon. He has to trade a few of his units before he can do so, but he's got the Pathogen Glands upgrade on the way. He's also getting his own Burrow or Overseer speed to spot Burrow roaches, like the ones that Soulkey's trying to get out right now. These roaches over here are going to just wait. It looks like if I were him, I would just camp and see if I could kill any drones later on when an engagement happens. Well, he's killing his own roaches, actually, to make Infestors, it looks like.
Yeah, it's smart. You need those roaches, or those Infestors, rather. You need to kill that supply. These roaches are going to come over here, not going to see much, but the drones are transferring right now. Decent army of Soulkeys over here to defend, but a little bit out of place.
Right now, if I'm Curious, I'm like, I'm just going to attack when you move out, because I don't even need to attack right now. He could do it, and it looks like he's going to. Not going to be the best trade for him, but again, like I mentioned before, he needs to trade something if he wants to make more Infestors. I don't even know if he killed that roach earlier on purpose or what happened there, but he didn't make any Infestors as far as I can tell. Okay, he makes Spines and then the Infestors. He could even oversupply with those. Yeah, this is looking better and better for Curious all the time, but Soulkey's not out of it yet.
No, definitely not. One player makes a mistake. We saw Curious move command into the army of Soulkey. If he does something similar, could go either way. Soulkey throws a little fight here and there, a little micro mistake here and there. We've seen him do it before. Could lose a match like that. Both players maxed out, trying to get those spine crawlers. On the other hand, Soulkey is going to go for that hive first.
Look at this micro from Curious. I mean, he's like, what is going on? I mean, he doesn't get the queen, unfortunately, for him, but that was some pretty feisty roach tennis that he was playing there. I don't even know what to call it, man. So we'll see. We'll see what this attack does for Soulkey. He may actually catch some of the roaches out of position. Nope. He sees it with his overlords, and he turns around. The infestors here defensively, plus all the infestors he's adding. Oh my god, 7 more infestors. Hydralisk range as well. He's just always one step ahead. The one thing he's missing, though, is base defense here.
Yeah, he doesn't have much static defense over here, and the army of Soulkey is much bigger. He's going to have to send more units down there, and at the same time, Roach is running to the main, gets an infestor, going to try to snipe even more.
He's going to get several infestors here. That's so much gas. He's killing all the infestors popping out here. This is exactly what Soulkey needs. Kills the 4th base as well, and this is a problem because he doesn't have the gold. He doesn't have any other bases on the map. And Hive Tech is actually finished now for Soulkey back at home.
That was a huge lead that he just gained for himself right here. No 4th base for Curious. So many of the infestors going down. Soulkey building 9 of his own. He's going to finally add this Hydra Den as well. So many spine crawlers, 9 at a time right now. Making.
With the Hive Tech, he can start to add 3/3 upgrades because he now has even the upgrades out with that +2 Carapace finishing. And, you know, that's something that's going to take Curious a very long time to get. Curious still does have even a better gas bank than Soulkey, just slightly. So losing those infestors puts Soulkey in a better position, but he hasn't, you know, eliminated his gas bank entirely, for example, by doing that. He's starting his hive now. He's restarting his 4th base, but a 5th base is being added for Soulkey. You can kind of call it a 4th base because the gold is basically mined out. It's not really going to be useful anymore. Gold bases are really like temporary bases. They're not really a full base. They're really fast minerals. It's like you're mining with super drones for a little bit of time at a base, and then the base just is gone. And he lost those minerals when he was attacking earlier, so it doesn't give him any sort of edge. So really consider the base at the bottom left as 4th. I would.
I'll consider it as 4th as well. At the same time, Curious turn to attack on 2 fronts.
Oh wow!
At the same time, though, Soulkey bringing in this little army of roaches that do go undetected. They can come in here and do a ton of damage. Seems like Curious turning his whole army back right now. Has a little force here at the 3rd of Soulkey as well. But look at this. It's the Hive. He's going to sit down. There's nothing here to defend. And the Hive's going to go down.
Hive goes down here, which means then he will have to make a lair before he can make the Hive again. He starts the lair instantly. He's not wasting any time. Way better static defense coverage here for Soulkey. That's what allowed him to defend the counterattacks of Curious. He's now losing a lot of drones. And looks like a few infestors got some fungals off there on Soulkey's army, but no fatalities. Could actually try to target down the Hydra Den. I don't think he will, but something he could go for. Oh, and he's going to kill his base as well. Soulkey's multitasking here in the late game. This is exactly what we were talking about. You get to late game, it's very tough, but Curious tries to get a good engagement here in the middle of the map.
Gets a very nice surround here, a very nice concave, has more ground army here, but you know these constant fungals are going down, and some of those roaches could come from the 4th as well, but some reinforcements coming out of Curious are going to help out with that fight. He's going to push past Soulkey for now, but that 4th base does go down again for Curious.
Curious's income is terrible right now. Both players have depleted their gas bank. A remax in Hydralisk, interestingly enough, here for Curious, whereas Soulkey's composition, he keeps it a little bit more. I almost want to like say contemporary on the complaint where he keeps it more standard. I mean, he's keeping it balanced, but it's like the more normal composition to keep, because if you go too lopsided on Hydralisk, then roach armies can just come in there and crush you. Even infested Terrans do decently against Hydralisk, so you got to be careful about that.
Yeah, you grab some good fungals onto all those Hydras, and they're so low on health. You can just do so much damage with those much more tanky roaches. Seems like Soulkey knows he has the very big advantage here. Gets a very nice fungal onto a lot of those units of Curious.
Oh, he's just going to have that concave on the high ground with those Hydras. Yeah, there's more Hydras for Curious, but the ones on the high ground doing the damage are important. And it actually, like, Soulkey's almost even in Hydralisk. It's 22 to 23. The worker deficit is really where the supply difference comes in, and also the saturation, because Curious still has not been able to retake that 4th base at the bottom right. He's cut off right now. He's cut off from supply to the other bases. Uh-oh, this is a great fungal, though.
Very good fungal over here, but Soulkey with his own fungals coming out here. Doesn't grab too many of these units, but so many different angles that he's attacking from. It just seems too many units coming out of Soulkey. Infested Terrans coming down.
Yeah,
it
on
looks
both
like
sides.
Curious.
Yeah, like this could be the end of Curious, man. It's certainly looking that way. He just got choked out, essentially. He couldn't hold on to his bases. He lost control of the middle of the map. Played a great early mid-game, but the late game was the problem for him. And it looks like SK Telecom is going to take the 3-0 here. GG. What a series, man. Very interesting games in all three of them. I really enjoyed all three games.
Yeah, as did I. Very not super standard. Very special things happening in all these three games. Definitely recommend to your friends. Even though it was a 3-0, very interesting builds coming out.
Even the Zerg versus Zerg I really liked because both players played somewhat standard, but we got to see a variation. Whereas, Soulkey tried to use that gold base to get a few extra minerals early on to be aggressive. Didn't even get a massive amount of damage done, traded okay, but then was able to control the game by having that fourth base up and denying his opponent that fourth. So just totally two different styles that we saw from Curious and Soulkey.
Yeah, I feel like there were a couple of big mistakes that Curious made. One, losing the Infestors.
A few control mistakes with his army as well on move command.
I mean, it showed in just that game. The later it went, the more Curious